Herrell is the Congresswoman Elect from New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District. Congresswoman Herrell, welcome. It's great to have you on the Hugh Hewitt Show. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad to make your acquaintance. I've been talking with your colleagues. Would you tell us a little bit about your district and a little bit about you?
Yes, so the district is very large. It's one of the largest that's not an individual state. So it actually runs from the Arizona border to the Texas border, and then really about half the state, the southern half of the state. So it's a very large district, and it's very diverse in industry, people. We have a large production of oil and gas in the district. On the east side of the district, we share part of that Permian Basin. And then we also have a lot of agricultural opportunities in our district with pecans, ranching, chili, onions. And then a third part of the district that's very interesting is the border wall. We obviously have a we border Mexico, so that makes it unique. And then, of course, the Department of Defense. We have 3 bases inside this district. So just a lot going on. I grew up, born and raised in New Mexico, and I actually served in the New Mexico House for 8 years and then gave up that seat to run for Congress. I'm in real estate. I do a lot of investing in real estate, and I also have a real estate license. So just great opportunity to be in a position to be the voice of not only New Mexico, but America, because it's very humbling and such a huge responsibility for all of us.
You know, Congresswoman Herrell, most of America knows New Mexico through Breaking Bad. Really, it's the
Right.
only, it's the one show that's ever been set in New Mexico. Now, my brother-in-law lived for a time, was stationed in New Mexico, and lived in a time in Albuquerque and the outside, and in Santa Fe and the outside of that. And I have friends over at the National Lab and friends at St. John's College in Santa Fe. I know the state a little bit, but not a lot of people know the Enchantment State. I mean, you're coming into a city, into a beltway where I'm broadcasting from, that really doesn't know New Mexico from, New England. If they're from
Right.
California, it's just a different part of the world.
It really is. And, I'm hoping that I can help educate your listeners and really make them understand that it's a beautiful state. We have everything from the high deserts to the ski areas. It's just geographically, it's beautiful. And you're right, we do a lot of filming in New Mexico. So there's been several movies filmed there. And of course, that Breaking Bad series was the one that everybody talks about. It wasn't a movie, of course, the series, but it's really a great, we have two really important things in my district, the Carlsbad Caverns and the White Sands National Monument. So those are 2 wonders of the world, if you will.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just an exciting state to live in, and really a friendly state, such great people. I'm just so honored and grateful to be the voice of the people in New Mexico. And I know that this was a great opportunity with the help of, like you mentioned, Tom Emmers, Steve Scalise, Kevin McCarthy, all coming in and really helping us to flip this seat and turn it back to conservative hands. So I really did appreciate all the help that they gave me. But there was just a real hunger in our district. I mean, we ran on the platform of, like I did when I was a state rep, pro-God, pro-life, pro-gun, pro-business, pro-family. People understood that with everything happening through Corona, that the government was really starting to, strip away at our rights. And certainly in New Mexico, we've seen a little bit of a heavy hand, if you will, from our own governor, keeping our state shut down. Our unemployment rate highest in the nation. And so people started understanding that it does matter who's making decisions for us on any level of government. And so there was a real enthusiasm, and of course, having President Trump at the top of the ticket was very beneficial as well.
So, talk to me a little bit, Congresswoman-elect Herrell, about coming to D.C. for freshman orientation. What was that like? I mean, most people dream about running for Congress. They never do it. A lot of people who are young are listening to the show in the backseat of the car on the way to high school, and they're hearing a Congresswoman-elect who got it done, and you went through the House of Representatives in New Mexico to do it. What was it like to walk into the House, which will be your home for the next 2 years?
Yeah, it's very surreal. In fact, I kind of have to remind myself that this is really happening. And it really is just such a huge responsibility. But I have a passion for serving people. I have a passion for bringing this common sense approach, a business sense to the people of New Mexico and, of course, now the nation. And I recognized when I served in the New Mexico House that my vote did not just affect the district that I represented in New Mexico. It represented the entire state of New Mexico. And just like coming into Washington, D.C., the vote isn't just about the New Mexico district. It's about the nation. And I said this as I was running for office. We are really fighting for our one nation under God. And it's time that we bring our principles and our values back to the forefront and really bring the voice. But I would just say, believe in yourself. And for me, the passion is serving. And it's one of those things, follow your dreams. And what really was, I think, the turning point, and I had somebody ask me this when I first got to D.C. last week, or the week before last for the orientation, what was the proudest moment? And I said the proudest moment was when I recognized that people in the district and others believed in me and my ability the way I believed in me. And it's very empowering, and it's, again, just so humbling to know that you're going to be making the decisions for people. And it kind of, I got to tell you, when I went to the Capitol the first time after I got here for the first week of orientation, it is kind of emotional. You do kind of tear up and think, wow, I'm here. And then just what's at stake in terms of our nation and the importance of this. So, yeah, it's very exciting, though, very, very exciting.
And the most closely divided House in modern times, I believe, and so every vote will count. I am going to have on Congressman Emmer tomorrow, and for the audience, he is the chairman of the National Republican Congressional Committee, who recruits candidates now for the 2022 ballot. And he's really, along with McCarthy and Scalise, one of the three magicians of the red wave in the House. How did they persuade you, Congresswoman Herrell, and who do you think Congressman Emmer and his team are going to be looking for to persuade to run in districts that aren't even drawn yet? How do they go and recruit in this situation?
Yeah, they really have been unbelievable. Now, I ran in 2018, and if you will remember, I was one of those races who I was declared the winner, won that night on the election. And then what's happening right now, what we're seeing play out all over the nation, is what happened to me in our district in 2018. We were declared winner, and then they found absentee ballots, and it ended up flipping. So for me, I went back to people that supported me, grassroots, to donors, to supporters, talked to them, talked to, my family, prayed about it. And then I flew back to D.C. in January, right after the 2018 elections, and spoke with Chairman Emmer and Kevin McCarthy and told them that I was going to make another run at it. And they were thrilled. They were very supportive. So they didn't have to recruit me very hard. But I tell you what, they have somehow found the right recipe for recruiting. The diversity and the freshman class that came in this year, amazing. More women than we've ever had before, veterans. And I look at all of us. I'm so proud to serve with not only this freshman class, but now to stand next to our men and women, such as Debbie Lesko and Jim Jordan and Andy Biggs and, all of those people that have been here holding the line. So it's they've certainly found the magic formula, if you will, and you know what? They believe in the candidates that they're recruiting, and they're helping them. And I think that just speaks volumes because this is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of time, and people that think that, you believe that all these people are your friends, and once you start running for office, you really they say you'll find out who your friends are. It's a tough thing to do, but I say stick with it and trust God and be true to yourself through the entire process. But I tell you, McCarthy and Scalise and Emmer are amazing. And they actually all three came out to my district, and we did different events, and that was very helpful. So they really are not only recruiting and helping financially, but they're engaged, with their time. And so they have been amazing, and thank goodness for their efforts.
And I think President Trump, I said this on Meet the Press yesterday, he gets credit for this red wave, too. He turned out more Republicans than have ever turned out. I am curious, though, about how much energy it takes. I want people who are thinking about making lives out of running for office. The reason I have just never been interested is I go to bed at 7:30, 8, 9 o'clock. I mean, I'm just not a nighttime person. And you got to go 24/7 for 2 years when you're running for the House, right?
You do. And I tell you, for me, it's been a long road because we ran for the 2018 seat, and it is long days. And when you come from a district like mine, it's 5.5 hours from where I live to the edge of the district. And I live right in the middle of the district. So from end to end, it's almost a 10-hour drive if I went from the Arizona border to the Texas border. So there's a lot of windshield time. And you have to really have a passion for serving. This is about the people. It has always been for me people over politics, but it does take a great deal of time, and you've got to thicken your skin because it's if you're sensitive to what people say about you, this isn't the right place for you to be because again, just the horrible campaign ads, like again, people that you thought were your friends, everybody's got an opinion on how you need to be running your race. And we had an amazing team who always made me look great. And so very small team. Everybody did more than they should have. And we just really kept our heads down and stayed focused. But it is a lot of work and not a lot of sleep. You're absolutely right.
Congressman, I'm so glad you mentioned your team. People don't win alone. And usually your chief staffer stays behind to run the district office. But a campaign team for Congress is, it's the training ground for the future Karl Roves and the future David Axelrods out there. I'm sure you had hundreds of volunteers and a staff of a dozen. I'm so glad you mentioned them. They don't get
Yeah.
often mentioned.
Oh, you know what? I talk about the team all the time, and like you just mentioned, not just our team. In fact, election night, I couldn't say enough about not only just our team, but I said in every single community that I represented, and across the state and across the nation, we had people that were prayer warriors. We had people writing notes of encouragement. We had in our state door knockers, in and out of state, phone callers, people that put up signs. It is not a one-man show. And I would tell people, look, I've got the easy part. I get to go and speak to audiences and be it's like being the front man in a band. I said, but there is no way to do this without having a good, valuable, trusted team. And then, again, those people around you. And our district is so huge. So it was so refreshing to be able to go into various communities and know that I had people there that were helping me and fighting for me because it is not something that you can just say, oh, I'm going to do this and you just do it. And we saw, we got out-sent by our Democrat opponent almost 4-1. So I'm here to encourage people, don't let the amount of money, scare you away from this because it is now coming down to grit, determination, and what people believe in. And right now people are believing in their nation, and they want an America for their future and their kids the way that we grew up in a nation where we had opportunity and choices.
That is so great. Congresswoman Yvette Herrell, elect, keep coming back. It's great to make your acquaintance, and God bless you and your team. It's a wonderful way to start the Christmas season. Congratulations. You can follow her at YvetteForCongress.com, on Twitter at Yvette, YVETTE, the number 4 Congress. And when she sets up shop, don't forget your relief factor if you're going out on your